What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. But we're not Dr. Vibe showing tonight. We are doing black men from north of the 49th and black men from south of the 49th. You're going to say, what does that mean? Well, that means that I'm from Toronto, which is north of the 49th parallel, and Kinte, who's sweating, all the other Californians down there, is from south of the 49th. And we chop it up most Sunday evenings, and we just bring friends on to have epic conversations. Kinte, other than sweat, how you doing, man?
I had Jamaican food, so
Oh,
shout
you're
out to all my
sweating.
Jamaican
Yeah, you're
folks out there.
sweating. Yes, you're
So,
sweating. You're
so a
sweating.
little jerk chicken.
Okay.
Adding to the sweat. So, but no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm very happy. Happy to be here with three of my favorite people that do this thing. So this is going to be a great night. And I don't know, for some reason, Kaya, it seems like your thing went down a little bit, so we only can see right underneath your eyes. So if you could just raise it, there we go. There we go.
More.
I see myself completely in the frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we can see you.
Yeah,
There we
now,
go.
yeah. Okay, and you're good, Dr. Amiris.
So Kinte, you have wonderful relations with these wonderful ladies. So could you please introduce them to our beautiful audience?
Sure. All right, I'll start with one of our returning champs. This lady I've known for quite a long time. I met her back in the Blab days. You all know about the B word, Blab. And this lady, she's an activist. She's a healer. She's an intuitive. She's a mother. I think she's even a grandmom, which is hard to believe. But this lady can do it all. I know I left a lot of stuff out. I call her a dear friend. It's the one and only Dr. Amira. How you doing, doctor?
I'm doing great.
Yes. I know I left a lot out because we'll be here all night, but did I cover all the major stuff?
Maybe.
A life coach too, as well. Life coach. So, yes. So thank you for being here, Dr. Amira.
Thank you.
And this next young lady, I've had the pleasure of knowing for only a couple of months. I know her. I guess we have kind of like a collective, much like the Blab days, where we come together and on each other's streams and whatnot. And this young lady has just been a nice person. It's interesting when you get to meet somebody and you see them in one light, and then you start seeing more and more of them, and then you really appreciate not only what they bring to the table from what they do, but also as a person. And I actually interviewed her, I guess about a month ago, something like that. And I learned so much about this lady. And unfortunately, that interview finished prematurely. So we were saying we got to do it again and add more to it. And I think this was a perfect venue to do it. So it's the one and only Kaya Lopez. How you doing, Kaya?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Wonderful. So tonight, Kinte, you came up with a wonderful conversation topic: intuitive entrepreneurs. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Both of these ladies, in a lot of ways, I'll be honest with you, I'm very cynical and very skeptic about everything. So, but the good thing about getting in these communities is you meet people that I probably wouldn't have met before, and then, things that you think is just crazy talk. And then when you actually meet people and get to know them, and then you realize not only are they really believe what they say that they're talking about, but there's more than just, some kind of voodoo, mystical, thing going on.
Use the word voodoo. I haven't heard that in a minute, that word voodoo.
Oh, I'm old school.
Okay.
And one thing that both of these ladies do is they're very spiritual and intuitives on their own rights. And they also use their intuitive gifts in their entrepreneurship. And what I really wanted to do is talk about how they do that, how it uses it as a guide. And one thing that, I know me and Kaya talked about was some of the things that people say and put you through when you start coming out the closet as an intuitive, if you will, for lack of a better term. And we can talk about those things too, because I don't think, you know, you got to imagine if these things are running through your head, right? And these are things that a lot of people don't really understand and already have negative feelings possibly about, or not even, you know, because they just don't know, then it's got to be scary, you know? So we want to talk about all these things and talk about you guys' gifts, and also talk to people who maybe just like them, who are afraid to come out, come out again. I think this would be a good conversation for.
Okay. So I'm going to open up the conversation piece. When I say the term intuitive entrepreneurs to each one of you, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
For me, it's spiritual and unstoppable, and it's like Kinte was saying, coming out of the closet. I find it funny because it wasn't until about a year ago that I publicly, and when I say publicly, I mean I went online finally and started to share some of my spiritual gifts. I have a holistic health background. I started out in the holistic health space when I was 20, out of what I call a reawakening. So I always share my story with my clients in my holistic health practice, but I had never shared my story online. And I even remember at one point for 2 years, I did a Spanish radio show about entrepreneurship and healing. And I didn't think that I was holding back. But the more I thought about it, there's a difference between being a Christian and being spiritual, right? Like there's a difference between being religious and being spiritual. And I realized, wow, with my Christian community, I hold back that there are these spiritual gifts that to me came out of prayer. I mean, for me, I was 20. My mom came to my house and told me I have cancer. And then she said, don't tell anyone. Your brothers don't know. Your dad doesn't know. I'm the eldest, only girl, 5 brothers. And my dad didn't know. My brothers didn't know. And she's like, I just needed to tell someone. And she left. And it's just like, that's all she needed was a soundboard. But I was left with all these questions. It was the first time I heard the big C word. And I got on my hands and knees, and it was a big, simple, deep prayer to God. And it was literally, God, tell me what to do. Show me what to do. I'd rather it be me and not my mom. And I remember saying that on my knees, crying, like snot all over the floor. And I don't remember if I was saying it in my head or if I was saying it out loud. What I do remember is somewhere in it, eventually what happened is right in front of my face, like in the Matrix, when things would pop out of nowhere in the movie The Matrix. I saw the bottom of a foot as clear as day with points, little dots twinkling inside. And I called my mom after this experience and I said, Mom, I think I'm supposed to do something to your feet. She goes, God doesn't work that way. She was a Jehovah's Witness at the time. No offense to Jehovah's Witnesses. They just don't believe that the miracles occur in modern day. And so for my mom, it was kind of like, are you losing it? Are you okay? Come over. I'm worried. And for me, it was, I just want to touch your feet. This is what I'm being called to do. This is what was instilled in me. Like whatever happened, I felt this intense heat and energy flowing through my whole body. And I said, Mom, just lay on the couch. What do you have to lose? And I remember taking her shoes off. And the minute I put my hands on her feet, I felt this rush of, the only way I could describe it is electricity, energy, heat. Like I could physically feel the heat. And I started pressing on these points. 20 minutes later, by the time I was done with both her feet, she was pain-free for 3 days. 3 days later, she's like, come do that thing to my feet again. And it's not that she believed what had happened to me. All she knew is that she was experiencing the results, right? Like she was experiencing being pain-free for a couple of days. And here was a woman that didn't want to take medicine because the medicine they gave her was just to numb the pain. And she couldn't work. And she'd say to me, if I take the medicine, all it does is make me sleep. And I can't work, and I have to work. Because my brothers were still in their teenage age. My brothers, the eldest of the boys and I are 5 years apart. So my brother, the eldest of the boys, would have been 15 at the time. So fast forward to now, my mom is like into the Kabbalah. This woman is ultra spiritual, even more spiritual than I am at times. Yet for me, that me at 20 was reconnecting with God, reawakening to something. And I've been on this journey. I made this promise to God. I basically said, hey, if it takes me the rest of my life to learn all the things my mother did to heal, because she healed in 4 months, but it took a holistic approach to heal her before the industry of holistic health even decided how we were going to spell holistic. And this woman started doing guided meditations. She started doing water therapy, acupuncture, herbology, changed her nutrition, took homeopathic remedies. I'm saying like a whole revamp. She changed her job. Everything was revamped in a matter of months. And the results for her was that she got to be cancer free. So I just made it my mission. But with that being said, even the number of people I was helping, I would never talk about that experience to that depth of saying, hey, God gives us gifts of hearing, feeling, knowing, right? And seeing. I just was like, I can't. People are going to think I'm crazy. So that's when I hear spiritual, I think spiritual and unstoppable, because that's what it's taken me in this journey, right? Like I've had to develop the capacity to keep moving forward and not stop.
Okay. Doctor, what comes from your heart and mind when the term intuitive entrepreneurs is mentioned to you?
Me.
Yeah.
Me. Just by understanding the gift that I have, the gifts I should say that I have, and taking it, developing a business out of it. And that's basically taking a passion that I'm really good at, because I'm not good at much else, right? So having all these different jobs, working for everyone. When I get to a job, I'm like, this not working, and looking out the window as I'm doing training, I'm just like, man, I just want this check. I don't want to hear what they're talking about. I have no idea. I have no clue what I'm doing, and I don't even care that I know. You know what I mean? And then getting fired off of jobs, getting fired, being not really caring and finding a rule to break, so to speak, but getting away with the rules. So occasional rule breaker that makes sense and fits for me. So in working at these different jobs and being told what to do, no offense, I think that there are some people who are meant to be entrepreneurs, and there's others that are meant to be workers. Okay, I'm not a worker. I'm not a worker. I'm just not. I'm not. And I've had different jobs. I probably stayed at for a few years, but only reason why I was able to do that because I had a business. So I've always been intuitive my whole entire life. I came out the womb intuitive. See, I'm adopted. I was adopted, but I always felt like I was weird and strange. And my parents who raised me basically told me, well, you are, and you're special. It's something about you. We knew when we looked in your eyes when we came to the foster home that you were in. And so
Right.
now in meeting my biological mom in 2020, January the 4th, physically, but I found her in December based upon my intuition. But I guess my energy wouldn't allow me to meet her early on because I was not ready. You understand what I'm saying? So now, after meeting her and talking to her, she's like, she takes care of people when they're dying. She's really good at that. She can feel them leave their system, leave their body. Okay. And my biological uncle, shoot, I wish I could find his book, but he has passed recently. But he wrote 2
My
books.
condolences.
He wrote book. His name is Ricky J. Herring, Hearring. He wrote 2 books that predicted the whole entire what's going on now today.
Wow.
Okay. 2 books. God, I wish it's somewhere on my bookshelf. It would take me a minute.
Okay.
But
Okay.
nevertheless, so it's in my bloodline. And my grandmother, when she met me, she basically told me how she, could feel my energy, and she knew that when they gave me up, she knew it was something special about me. She said, I'm not just saying that. She said, but I knew it was something special about you. And then as soon as I met them, it was like weird. I mean, we talked the same, we walked the same, and it was just that intuition, that energy that came about. So I came out the womb. I can recall a time when my grandmother, who raised me, I don't like using the word adopted, okay?
Right.
So when I say raised me, that means the parents who raised me, okay? Because my biological family didn't raise me, okay? So let me just throw it out there. So nevertheless, I went to this church, and one of my grandmother, I was sitting with my grandmother, and I was like, the minister's a whore. That he's sleeping with everybody in the congregation. I was like 8, and I just started breaking it down. She was like, shh, shh. She's like, be quiet. I was like, no. I was like, I don't want to be here with all these crazy mixed up people. And as I just felt their energy, and so of course, as we were riding home, and she was like, well, how did you know this? And I started telling her certain things, and she said, well, how did you know this? This was before you were even born. I was like, I don't know. It's just something told me. She's like, well, what told you? I said, I think it was my own voice. So basically, in taking a gift that you have and creating a business. So that's even if you play basketball, if you know how to play basketball, you might not make it to the NBA, become a coach. You know what I mean? So I don't always advise people, and I got to throw this out here. I don't always advise people to become a life coach, or it takes a certain type of person to be able to turn that into the business. See, a lot of people may have a gift of giving advice. A lot of people may have intuition. A lot of us, we all have intuition. We always, because we have the third eye, okay? So, and we have the crown chakra, okay? So we all have these chakras, right? Not everybody is meant to do this. Not everybody's meant to do that. This is like me trying to play basketball. Now, I know how to play basketball. I could do all right. I'm all right, but I shouldn't be the women's NBA, so when it comes to entrepreneurship and being able to take a little bit of something, this girl gave me $100 to take this life coaching course. And the course, I think, was like $2,000. And my first client was one of my friends. Okay. So in taking that ideal and taking that $100 and creating this business, just $100. From there, I started off in my living room. Okay. And talking to people over the phone. From my living room, I went into a office with just 2 rooms and a bedroom, in a bathroom, sorry. And then now I'm in a 4-room and bathroom. You know what I mean? So it takes a certain skill, and I'm able to maintain it. I can come up with rent every time, not just rent money, but being able to have all my herbs. I took one herb, and the sea moss herb. I started with sea moss, right? And so developing, getting more herbs, and then taking these different courses, because it costs. This is not free. Being able to get these different courses, taking Reiki courses, went from level 1 to level 19. You know what I mean? And developing all these different skills, it's not a joke. So when you talk about intuitiveness, when you talk about entrepreneurship, I get it. So
okay. No problem. Thank you both ladies for sharing. And I just want to shout out people who are watching this live on the Facebook Live platform. We have Anna, and Anna, thank you. She's sharing this with a lot of people in their community, saying they should be checking out this conversation, which is excellent. I'd like to say hello to Robert, D, and Maya. Ladies, you both know your gifts. But my question is, did you find your gift, or did your gift find you?
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
Well, like I shared, there was a reawakening, because now standing for where I'm at, now mentoring people on developing their spiritual gifts inside of their businesses, I can go back to being a little kid, kind of like the doctor was sharing. I remember being a little kid, seeing things, hearing things, feeling things, knowing things, like my intuitiveness, so we're going to call it that, but I like to call it gifts. My gifts were fully opened as a kid, yet I didn't have the guidance or answers from the people around me. It wasn't something that was encouraged. if anything, I was told things like, oh, that's just your imagination. And it went from that to, oh, that's the devil, right? Like my family became very afraid of the things that would come out of my mouth. They were always very worried about what I was going to say in public, because I've apparently been very vocal most of my life. And the thing that I do have to say, I remember at one point crying in bed, and I was about 9 years old. And at the time I was living with my aunt, because like a lot of us who've gone to be spiritual mentors or spiritual teachers, I think God has prepared us through trials and tribulations to make us stronger, to give us the capacity that when people show up, we're not going, oh my God, I can't believe that, right? There's very little that a student or a prospect can say to me that I'm shocked, because of the background, right? Because of the things I've had to go through in my life. But I remember laying in bed, and I was about 9 years old. My mom had sent me to live with my aunt because we were in a very abusive household. And that went on for years. Like my father, who I found out around that time wasn't my biological father, I always had that feeling of like, something's off, something's not right here. I don't think this is my family. And I would hear like, this is the family you chose. That's what I would hear internally. But at 9, when you find out who you think is your father isn't your father, and you're now left with this feeling of I don't belong, and people are saying, hey, these things that you have going on are the devil's work, you want to turn it off as quickly as possible. You want to get rid of it. And so I remember praying, and I remember seeing Christ I was sleeping in the living room, and as I was laying in bed praying, I remember seeing him stand next to me and tell me, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about everything. It's going to be okay. And after that, I don't remember ever seeing or hearing anything for years until I was 20. So I think that sometimes we as adults, especially with children, because children come with such clarity, right? With such purity. And they come to this earth open. And if we want to get into the topic of chakras, I mean, they really do come completely open, and they've absorbed all the energy, aches and pains and transgressions from their ancestors through their mother's womb. And when they're born, it's like there's this thing that we forget where we came from. We forget that we chose this. We forget all these things that are embedded in our body. And it takes time that's why I call it a reawakening. It takes us time to reawaken and become masterful with those gifts. So now I'm at a point that I still question. I was just looking at the first live stream I did doing online readings for people, and it was in December 2018. That's when I officially, quote unquote, came out the closet in the spiritual forums. But it wasn't until this year that I finally said, look, guys, I have these spiritual gifts and I want to share them with the world. And if you're struggling with some of these things, I want to help you too. And then we pivoted and shifted my whole business from being a holistic health practitioner, which I still do, because I don't like seeing people in pain. I love teaching people how to get their pain under control. But I shifted to what the world is needing now. Like more than ever, the world needs people to step up and own their spirituality and just live it. I mean, I can't express it any other way than live that thing that you're saying, right? Like live those passions, live those gifts. And yes, I agree with the idea that not everybody's cut out to be a coach. And yes, I believe that we all have a gift and not everybody's cut out to be in a 9-to-5. But there are people's whose path, whose journeys are still to work through those things. And for me, I've gotten to a place where I'm like, meet people where they're at. Meet them where they're at in their journey. If they're ready to work with someone that's going to guide them, great. If they want to stay stuck in a 9-to-5 in a cubicle and that's what makes them content right now, then let it be. There's no need to push or pull. They'll find you. They'll experience their own awakening when it's time.
Excellent. Doctor, same conversation piece for you. Did you find your gift or did your gift find you?
My gifts found me, and I did not want it because it it felt like a curse. Because of the fact of just having to experience death and hearing death. And every time I felt like a child was born, an elder would die, hear a child born, then someone will die. Then someone dies, then someone is born. You know what I mean? And so I just kind of got tired of that whole concept. I got tired of feeling the concept of death. I grew tired of of just seeing certain things that I just didn't feel like seeing. And why these dead people keep coming to me asking me questions. I mean, what the heck? What do y'all want? You know what I mean? So, that got on my nerves. So everybody is trying to be this healer. And everybody, I'm like, man, I'm not doing this. But I'm telling you, so for a while I tried to cut it off, but it would not let me cut it off. It just would not. You know what I mean? Every time I would experience certain things, it would always happen. I'd be like, man, I give you an example. My daughter tried to skip school when she was in high school. Was she in high school? No, she was in junior high. She tried to skip school. And I was like, so I called over to one of her friends' house. I was like, look, tell her to come home. She was like, how did you know she was on her way over here? I said, tell her to come home or I'll be on my way over there. They hurried up and dropped her off. And my daughter was like, well, how did you know? I was like, first of all, you on punishment. I'm going to handle you in a minute. Back in those days, there wasn't no problems with, handling children. You know what I'm talking about? Now it is. But anyway, so I'm like, I'm going to handle you in a minute. She was like, well, how did you know? I was like, I just knew. I'm pregnant, I knew. When my son got his girlfriend pregnant, I knew. You know what I mean? They're grown though, but still, I just know. And so it's just something that just comes to me when it's supposed to. It's just a feeling that I just can't and get away from. And again, when you get to the point in your life, it's not because I'm ashamed or I gave a damn about what anybody thought, because I don't care. I'm adopted. Why? I'm already weird. Okay, I'm weird as hell. So why would I care about what this person thinks or what this person feel? I mean, I've always been a rebel and I've always gone against whatever anybody else told me, even if it was right. I still went against that. Okay. So when you go against the odds and you don't care about what people think, you get to the point in your life. It's not a point of me ashamed or me being fearful. It was a point of, what do y'all want? You know what I mean? What do you want? You know what I mean? So it's just like, it just made me do it. It just made me do it. And every time I say, well, maybe I should chill out. Maybe I should just take a little break. I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to go and meditate somewhere. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to meditate. When I get to meditating, and here we go. And people just call me, hey, I need your help. Hey, can you know what I mean? So when you have it and it just falls into your lap, it's just destiny. And I can't run from destiny after a while. After a while, I'll be like, man, every time you try to run from yourself or you try to run from who you are, guess what? It's harder to run than it is to stay. Yep. People don't really know that. They think, well, man, if I stay here, then I'm gonna be miserable. No, if you run, you're gonna be miserable. So I mean, it is what it is. I just roll with it.
Okay. Kinte?
Yeah, this is so good. Okay, let's deal with some misconceptions or stereotypes. Slash, and we'll kind of run through some. I'll throw some out, and you guys just tell me some if there's some truth to it or not. Okay, so I'll just let you guys know something. Is one time me and I did that last show I did with you, Amira, and it was another young lady, and you guys were doing readings. Somebody I know very well from the Blab days. She berated me for doing that show and told me that I can't believe that I thought you were a Christian. Like, so, and said, why would you have some demonic stuff on your show? I'm like, demonic? Like, I think that's pretty a stretch. So, so that's something that I went through as just having it on my program. Okay. As a topic. So I can only imagine the things that you guys come here all the time. So let's start off with the first kind of possible misconception is, can you be both a Christian, love Jesus, and be in tune with your intuitive gifts and all of that kind of stuff? Do they run parallel from each other, or what? So,
You go first.
go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, me? Oh.
I mean, that's the order we've been going in.
I was like, I've been going first this whole time. You go first. No, I'm just kidding. So a couple of things I want to say. One is, Amira, I'm getting ready to write a book called Spiritual and Unstoppable. I'd love for you to be a part of it, woman. I love your energy already. And so that's one thing before I forget, before I get my ADD
thumbs
going.
up.
All right. Good. Okay, so in tune with what you're saying, Kinte, I've made a post as I was doing this, right? So like I said, December 2018 was the first time I started to do readings on spiritual forums, right? So I belong to a lot of spiritual forums, and it helped me get confident with doing the work on camera, because I've been doing this work since I was in my 20s, right? And back early in the days when I was doing this kind of work, you would do it over the phone. And so my mentor said to me, I want you to go join this network. They're going to pay you per minute. They keep a percentage, you make a percentage. The reason I'm asking you to do this is I want you to practice. You're going to get all kinds of people once you start doing this professionally. And she goes, and you're going to work through a couple of things. She goes, there's going to be days you don't want to do readings. And it's like working a muscle, right? And I didn't understand it back then, but now I get it, right? Like, I can so relate to some of the stuff that Amira was saying with, there's nights where I'm like, no, I don't want to wake up and call someone right now. Like, I'm trying to sleep, right? With that being said, I just wanted to comment to Amira's comments, right, to what she was sharing. In terms of, can you be a Christian and can you be spiritual? My answer is a fucking hell yes. At the end of the day, there are so many stories in the Bible of God teaching his disciples to use their spiritual gifts. Him being their mentor and going, hey, I'm going to teach you how to cast out demons. I'm going to teach you, right? Like, I'm going to teach you how to heal people. There's moments in the Bible where the word even meditation is used. When Christ himself would say, you know what? I need to go take some time alone. I'm going to go sit by this tree and I'm going to meditate. And he would tell his people, like, I need you to give me space, right? And then there's those moments of where, like, he disappeared into the desert for, what was that, like 20 years or 40 years? I butcher this all the time. I'm not a hardcore, like,
A lot of time.
verse, this is the story. A lot of time, right? He was gone for years. There are gaps of his story inside the Bible. We don't even know what the hell was going on at that time, right? So my answer is a big hell yes. And it's down to the point when I was being called to teach, and Amira said it right, like, you can't run from it. I remember being in an ayahuasca ceremony and I call them downloads, being downloaded with, here's the course I want you to teach. Here are the people you're going to teach it to. And I'm going, no, I don't want to. No, I'm perfectly fine with my holistic practice and making the money I'm making. I don't want to let that go. And it was like a cold bucket of water poured over me, because even though I was saying no, pieces in my life were shifting and moving. Because when you say no to a call from God, shit's going to happen. And I'm not joking when I say that. Like, things are going to fall apart. Things are going to move till you physically go, you know what? I'm going to listen. I'm going to go take these steps. I'm going to walk through this door. And I recently asked my mother, I said, Mom, years ago when I first started using oracle cards, I remember leaving a deck on the kitchen table. I said, somebody took it and threw it away. I said, was it you? And she goes, no, it wasn't me. Yet everything in me tells me that it was my mom, right? And so I've asked her now twice, Mom, was it you? And she's like, no, it wasn't me. And even now, right, now that my daughter calls it awoke, she's this awoke being, she still deals with this idea that she can lie and I'm not going to know about it. I'm not going to feel it. I'm not going to know. And it baffles me when people will stand in front of you knowing that you have these gifts to gauge and feel, and they'll lie to your face. So all this to say, yes, you can be Christian and you can be spiritual. You can be Christian and you can have these gifts. And it's a very narrow path, though, because you can fall to another side. I've seen people work with, I'll just call it dark energy, because there is such a thing as light energy and dark energy. And I just chose. I remember in the midst of, once again, one of my ayahuasca journeys, being asked, like there was a song playing about Jesus Christ. And I heard in my mind, right, in the inner voice, is this who you believe in? And my answer was yes. And here were people telling me, do not go to those ceremonies. You're going to stop being a Christian. You're going to stop believing in God. And the only thing that going to those ceremonies did was make me clear that I'm a Jesus lover. And so this happened 6 times. So 6 of my journeys, this song would come on and the question would come up, is this who you believe in? And I would see this ginormous tree with branches of different religions. And at the top, I would see Christ on one of these branches. And I was like, So at the end of the day, there's this root, right? All this energy comes from this root. And there's this energy that's coming from above. And we get to choose. We get to say, this is the path I choose. Not somebody else, us. And so when I would say yes, with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my being, yes, I would get transported. I mean, in my mind's eye, right? I would get transported to being at the foot of the cross. I would feel the dirt, right? And it wasn't even dirt. It was like sand. I would see the cross. I would look up and I could hear people crying around me. And I could see Christ being crucified, right? Like the image that came to me. And I'm going, this is crazy. Like my friends are telling me, my Christian friends are telling me, you're going to get further away from God if you keep going down this path. And the only thing that kept happening was God bringing me closer to him and pulling me to say, hey, it's time for you to teach. And it wasn't until I listened that a lot of my physical ailments started to go away, that a lot of my depression started to go away, because there was this resistance, right? It was this battle going on internally, and it really was a spiritual battle. But it was a battle where I was saying no to God, and God's going, no, but you don't understand. If you don't listen, there's a price. And if you do listen, there's a reward, right? But with that reward is a lot of responsibility that I didn't want. So anyways, I'll leave it at that. I got so many stories I get to share about this, but I'll leave it at that.
All right. So you agree, you concur, right? That you can be a Christian and be in tune with your spiritual gifts, right?
I mean, of course, you can be whatever you want to be and have it. I mean, let me tell you something. I had to write this down because I wanted to make sure I have my thoughts, because my head be everywhere, right? So one of the things, I remember this one girl, her mom told her, she said that I wasn't ordained to to be a minister. I wasn't ordained to practice intuitiveness. And so my question to her, I told her to tell her mom, or she put her mom on the phone. I really didn't care. I said, let me tell you something. Who gave her the right to think that she's going to tell me to give me the right to practice or to be intuitive? Because she's not God. You know what I mean? She has God within. We all have God within, right? So my thing is, who is the person that's supposed to be the chosen one? Who is the person that says that you selected to choose to do this and this and that? You know what I mean? So these are questions that people have to answer. And what is a Christian after all? You understand? So I don't even think half of these folks even understand what Christianity is.
Right.
And where Christianity stems from, but that's a whole nother topic.
A lot of Christians believe Jesus Christ was Christian.
Maybe
which is hilarious.
So how you gonna tell me that if you read the Bible talks about crystals, the Bible talks about herbs. What did the wise men bring to Jesus?
Frankincense and myrrh. Yeah.
So don't sit up here and tell me that I'm not doing what's ordained by the Creator. You know what I mean? Whether and I don't even disagree with certain parts of Christianity. It's just some of this man-made stuff, but we ain't gonna get into that. But I don't have a problem with Christianity. I don't have a problem with Muslims. I don't have a problem with it because it's all. You know what I mean? Buddha, whoever. You know what I mean? Some things I can get with, but for the most part, I celebrate it all because I might need to contact Buddha to do certain things. I'm gonna need to contact Jesus, say, hey, what's up, homie? I need you real quick. I need your revolutionary spirit because I gotta do some stuff. I gotta go right over here with these crazy folks, right? So, you know, I might need to contact Allah. You know what I mean? I might need to contact Yahshua. You know what I mean? I might need to talk to whoever, you know, and these different deities, the goddess. You know what I mean? It's all helpful for me. I can't tell nobody about anybody else. So I'm not going to down one religion versus another religion because, first of all, that's not even Christian-like either, to judge people, right? Don't the Bible talk about judging people? Don't the Bible talk about upliftment and meeting people? Like Jesus went into the taverns, like, hey, and he went into the taverns and got the people and ministered to them. He went inside of churches and told them, hey, get up out of here because this ain't where it's at. You know what I mean? Church is about the temple that you have within you. It's not the temple that's inside of these four walls. So why everybody why everybody inside of these temples you a devil, half of y'all is the devil yourself. And let me tell y'all a story what happened to me. Since we talking stories, my sister. Let me say, so here I am chilling, you know what I mean? I was kind of halfway between sleep, halfway between awake. So I was at a meditative situation. And I'm all like chilling. I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. It's me. It's all about me, right? And so I heard a voice. I heard something. It wasn't like an evil voice, but it wasn't a good voice. It was it wasn't my voice. It was some other voice, but it was a weird type of voice. And I was like, hey. And they was like, do you choose? I'm like, is this a movie? You know what I mean? I'm literally thinking this. I'm like, do I choose what? And then it was like, do you choose? And I was like, no, I don't choose. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, dang. And then I woke up and I felt like darkness. I felt darkness. I was like, dang, you know, and I'm so crazy. I said to myself, I said, dang, I should have chose because I might have got the riches. I might have
oh, Lord.
Yeah. And I was just like, man. And then I go back to sleep. And then I actually go back to sleep that same day. I go to sleep. And it was like, so you don't choose. And I was like, no. I was like, what is this in me that keeps saying no? And I'm all like, no, wait a minute. Do I choose what? And they kept on, and something within me kept on saying, no, I don't choose. And I was like, who is that talking? What you mean you don't choose? Shoot, I want to be a millionaire, you know? So, you know, you know, my higher self just wouldn't allow it. And so sometimes your spirit just speaks before you. And the thing is, so, you know, if I was so unrighteous, I would have chosen. You understand what I'm saying? Right. And there is a such thing as light and there's dark energy. I sound light, but sometimes I have dark thoughts.
Me too. Yeah. Me too.
You know,
That's because we're human, Amira. We
Yeah.
gotta remember that we're.
I'm like,
still
off
human,
with your head,
you know?
fool. What you say? I'm gonna make you look like a foot. Keep playing with me. Wake up talking like a little girl, you know. So, a lot of times, you have to sometimes do a balance because I'm realistic. I'm a realistic killer, and I'm not getting ready. Like if my client come to me and be like, "Yeah, this my boss is showing out with me," I said, "That right? Your boss showing out with you? All right, let's see what we can do." You know what I mean? So you might need to press that boss and see repercussions. And let's talk. When I say repercussions, I don't mean him falling out the rainbow and getting hit by a bus. I'm talking about showing him a mirror of himself. Like, okay, so the mirror, okay, so when I do wrong to people or I mess with harasses people, so maybe my boss will harass me. So now I got to think about, hey, this is how I'm not going to treat others. So
Right.
a lot of times you have to, as a healer, you have to weigh certain options and you have to look at life a certain way. It's all about, it's like a parent. So when your child is showing out, because I'm a grandmother and a mother, when they're showing out, you gotta show them what it is. Like, okay, so you gonna show out? Okay, I'm gonna teach you a lesson. So I tell you what, you know how children come to you and be like, well, I ain't gotta listen to you. Oh, you don't? Pack your bags. I'm going to take you over to your grandma's house and take you. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have to show them, and I'm going to clean this up, okay? So as a Christian, you have to understand that God places people here. Okay, let's look at it in a different sense. So God places people here because He can't be here or be here all at once at different times for different people for different times. So sometimes they will place people because what Jesus was is a prophet, a spiritual teacher, a prophet. Okay, that's what they said. That's what they said. Now that's what I read. Now that's what I read. Now, so the Creator places certain people here that are intuitive, that can do certain works, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a medical doctor, because I'm not a medical doctor, right? But I'm a doctor, but I'm not a medical doctor, I'm a metaphysician, right? So he places people here to do certain works. He places people here to be doctors. He places people to be lawyers, to save people. These are two saving people, just on two different levels, right? He places nurses here. He places ball players, people who can sing and dance, Christian singers, gospel singers. I mean, so different people have a job to do. So even people who are evil, that's their job to be. I'm just being honest. Now we got to be honest. And even with evil people are placed here, so everybody has their own individual thing they're supposed to do. So what you do is no better than what I do. So I'm not gonna come to your house and try to tell you how to run your house. So don't try to come to my house and try to run my house, okay? Because you're gonna get kicked out. Just like I should get kicked out of your house trying to run yours. So yes, Christians can be intuitive. That's just the same thing as laying hands. They've been laying hands on people for years. It's just called Reiki. It's just different forms of laying hands. I can touch people and go, I feel this. I can feel this. Okay, what's going on with your stomach? What's going on with your head? What's going on with your throat? You got something going on. You might need to go get that checked out. Same way, the doctors physically can tell you certain things. We just do it in an intuitive way, right? So what's wrong with a minister? I don't go to in somebody's church and say you can't give people advice on their spiritual marriages, or even if they feeling something, they're intuitive too. And some of the people in churches are intuitive too, so they don't give them a right to tell somebody else. So I think that it's sometimes people just can get selfish. Let me just be honest, because people can get selfish and they'll start trying to turn this person into this person, and they're afraid of losing their flock. See, I'm getting ready to tell you the truth. Some of them are afraid of losing their flock, and they feel like you're going to take their flock from them because you're intuitive, and the person will start relying more on you than on them. So, hey, Christians, stop being afraid. Nobody's trying to take your flock. I'm not evil. We're not evil just because we practice what God has ordained us to practice. And you're not the God. You a God, but you're not the God. So you can't tell me what I do is evil. So how about shut up?
Now, uh,
I want to add to something Amira said. Amira, I recently, probably about a week ago, did a live stream where I was sharing that I had stopped participating in church because the head pastor had told me to stop using the word healer. And I was like, because in my live streams, I always say I'm a mom, healer, and entrepreneur, right? Like those are like the main things that I could say my life is all about, right? My life is all about being a parent and being a woman, right? Like it's about being mom. It's about my healing work, whether that's online or offline. It's about entrepreneurship because I love working with entrepreneurs. And I'm a serial entrepreneur myself. And he basically said, look, you really need to stop using the word healer. And I'm just going like, when did this guy like even watch one of my live streams? If he did, he'd know that I'm guiding people to Christ and not away from, right? And his whole thing was, look, people can misinterpret that the word healer to be that you're a God or you're God, right? And I'm going, and I was left puzzled. And I just said, okay, I just left it at that. I said, Pastor, thank you for your opinion. I just want you to know this from my stance. And this is me. I every time anyone comes to my office or I work with someone, I always tell them, you show up, I show up, and God shows up. That's it. Like this is it. Us three, we're gonna work together. And in terms of, like Amira said, there's like different energies and things you can tune into. For me, I just chosen a Christian path. So when I do my work, I call on the archangels. I call on Jesus, right? Like those are the ascended masters and healers and spiritual army that I rely on. And I get that there are people that have different views, and I respect where they're at. And I've just gotten very clear that my stance is I'm a Christian, and that's not going away. Like that's not going to disappear. And that's the frequency I choose to tune into. And you're welcome to walk with me on that path. And if you don't, that's fine. You continue
now,
on your path till you get to where you
Amira,
want
now
to
this
get to.
one you definitely will have to be the one to answer this. And it'll kind of revert to something me and Kaya was talking about in another conversation that we had. But as a Black woman who is a healer and intuitive, you guys have your own stereotypes as well. Specifically, and the one I was talking about is that y'all worship shea butter. That's like shea butter is like they actually just straight call y'all shea butter, right? Of course,
That's okay. Go ahead.
that's one. Also, you guys worship Erykah Badu, right? She's the
That's a conversation, but go ahead.
right. That's another one. That have to be referred to as Queen Mother Earth. That's another one. Some are not gonna say on the show because
Kinte, you're just
no, I'm
digging
saying
a
what
hole,
people
dude.
say.
You see why I'm on the north of the 49th?
No, I'm saying what people say. I'm not saying this is what I say. Right. So there's some other things that I'm not going to say on this show, but so specifically as a sister, when people find out that you are an intuitive and all that kind of stuff, like what are some things you feel like are unique to you that you go through as a Black woman who's intuitive?
Well, I go through am I a witch? Okay. The Erykah Badu thing, never heard that. The shea butter thing, I use shea butter. So if I celebrate or worship shea butter, fine. And I make a lot of products out of shea butter. So thank you, shea butter. Oh hell, shea butter. But
you know what I mean?
Now Erykah Badu, hell no. I mean, I know a lot of people, think because they think she's wise. I just know that you aren't supposed to look into her eyes because they said the guy's not y'all men not supposed to look into her eyes because y'all get hypnotized. I done been around Erykah Badu before, but that's another story. I was security for Erykah Badu, but in a former life. And I don't mean, and I'm not trying to sound mystical, but my past, and I looked into her eyes and nothing happened. I didn't turn into a toad. I didn't I didn't fall in love with her. I didn't want to make her my baby mama. That nature. So no, I don't worship her.
Oh, you the lucky one.
She's like a Pisces. So Pisces, y'all, I love y'all. My daughter's a Pisces, but oh my God, y'all get on my nerves because I'm a Taurus. So it's like water and earth. I don't want to be wet. Unless I'm taking a bath or I'm trying to spiritually do something with the water or I need to drink it. But I don't want to be, I'm already on ground. I'm cold. You feel me? So I don't need it to rain right now. In fact, why is it raining so much? I live in Kentucky on my nerves. But well, in terms of stereotypes, I go through the whole "am I a witch" thing, and it's nothing against witches. It's nothing against. I do know people who consider themselves witches who call themselves witches. And if I were a witch, I would be a good witch. But I don't necessarily like the energy, the word that because of the stereotype of it. But I don't have a problem necessarily with that word, and I don't want to be called that. But if someone were to call me a witch and they, in a positive way, they'd be like, well, a good witch, then fine. But not necessarily. You know what I mean? I don't really consider myself this, like I don't like the word psychic. I do not like that word. But essentially it is psychic gifts, right? It is psychic abilities. But I don't like the energy that comes with it. It's right. Because all these labels, everybody
psychic friends, the hotline and all that.
Yeah, everybody want to put a label on you. So I don't want labels on me. I call myself whatever the hell I want to call myself. I don't want people to put labels on me. So the witch thing, do I go out naked and dance in the woods? And I know, I'm a healer, but I don't really I grew up in the country. I'm from St. Louis, but my parents who raised me are from Mississippi. So I spent many a summers in Mississippi on the dirt roads, and I just did not like it. It just reminded me of Jim Crow. I'm sorry.
You didn't answer. Do you be naked in the woods? You just kind of glanced.
No, I'm not gonna be in no because I don't want nothing crawling up in me and attack me. That is like really. I make my own bug repellent. So I don't attack my bugs. I don't like snakes. So certain things I just don't do as a healer. It's a lot of stereotypes. Do I sit out in the woods and all this other type? I do a park, and I like going for walks, but I like to control my nature experience because of the fact that I grew up, around the farm. I saw chickens throw up. I'm a vegetarian, for God's sake. I done saw chickens throw up. I done rode a hog before. I done rode a mule. So, I mean, that's been my experience. So do I want to go back to that part of it? No. The best thing that I enjoyed in growing up in nature, around nature, because my grandmother had a farm, was she had like a field across the street and it would rain and like being in the mud. And so when you put your foot in the mud has a very earthly feeling. Again, I like that aspect of it, but I don't want the bugs. And I don't want to be seeing no snakes. I don't want to see no worms. I don't want to see none of that. But I like the earth part of nature. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I'm an herbalist. I'm also a herbalist. So that part of it. So, so stereotypes. So yeah, I deal with stereotypes all the time. Do I know? People ask me dumb stuff like, do you know what I'm wearing right now? I don't care what you're wearing right now. What the hell you come to me and ask me what you wearing right now? And then one dude played with me. He was like, well, yeah. I was like, look, I just see red. And he went in his car and pulled out a red handkerchief. I mean, just trying to test me, like stupid stuff like that. Like that gets on my nerves. I don't like people to treat me like I'm Raven from That So Raven show. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like that gets on my nerves. Well, tell me what I'm thinking right now. What I'm thinking. I said, let me tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, stop asking me these dumbass questions. How about that? I think that's a stereotype. People automatically feel like you should be knowing what they're thinking. I don't really care what half of people are thinking. So don't be asking me what you're thinking to test my skills. How about get your shit together? So that's a stereotype. You know, what am I thinking? Everybody think you're Raven because they seen the Raven show, and they think you know, the Dancing with Wolves in the buck naked in the wood. Also, they think that you can levitate off the ground. They think you're gonna pull out a broomstick. They think you got voodoo. I do have voodoo dolls. I do make them, but that doesn't mean I don't use mine for what you think I use them for. Energy, if it's negative energy, if you have negative energy inside of you, it has to go somewhere. So you have to find an object to put it in. Dolls are just better to put the negative energy.
What about that term? Like she'll put a what is it, a root on you or something like that?
Okay, yeah, well that's not a stereotype, but yeah, I know how to put roots. But do I want to put roots on people? No. That's no. I'd like to remove the roots. That's what I do. I like to remove the roots. Right. I don't want to put roots on people because I don't have time for that. You know, that's just not me. Some people are meant to do that, and then there's others like me who remove those.
Mm-hmm. What about like love spells and all that stuff? Is that?
That's not stereotype. Okay, so let me break down the concept of love.
Mm-hmm.
Love is free will.
Okay.
But at the same time, there is a such thing as a law of attraction, and there is a such thing as placing you in a situation where you can be loved by somebody. I give an example. I had a client. Let me give you the purest example that I could possibly give you. I had a client who stayed in a whole nother country from the United States. She had slept with this guy one time. He didn't really gel with her. He didn't really care about her like that. He just,
he didn't quit it.
He didn't quit it.
Mm-hmm.
But she was so in love with him, lustfully in love with him, lust. Okay. And she was like, well, can you help me to get there? I helped her to get to United States, and she wound up living with him. But I was like, you sure you want to do this? She was like, yeah. I was like, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, I want to do this. I was like, okay, I don't think it's going to end right. I'm just telling you. So there's a thing where I helped her to get to where she needed to be. And she wound up, she's married to him now.
Oh, wow.
She ain't happy though. But I'm just being honest with you. So sometimes it's a situation. I'm a cream, manifester. I know how to manifest things. Like all of us have the ability to manifest things, and I know how to do that.
Dang, actually, you should have been friends in high school. You could have helped me out there.
But the point is that when you really want something, you can obtain things. So yes, I wouldn't say that's a stereotype. I think that some people do it be lying. That like they'll have like a certain oil and they'll be like, this works. I do have stuff from a family member that has been passed on for years and years and years. That's a whole nother story. But the family that I was raised in, not my biological family, but the family I was raised in. And so, it's something that diviners back in, that's another story, but diviners back in our motherland have been doing that for centuries. They will give you an oil, or they'll give you a herb, take this, and this will happen. It is happening. So I'm just doing what that has been a part of me, and I will know certain things, just like a medical doctor come to you and be like, okay, well, if you take this medicine to help you with this, this medicine to help you grow your hair back out because you're bald. You know what I mean? This medicine will help you to,
if your Jimmy ain't
to help you to have children, or to have arousement for your wife or your husband or whatever. So I'm just doing what God ordained me to do, you know, what my ancestors have passed down, because I am a celebration of that, of them. So,
Wait a minute, wait a minute. We kind of glossed over that. You guys can actually help in that field
what?
if someone's having problems downstairs.
Yeah, I got herbs.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's on my website. Go to my website.
That's it. I mean, I'm not saying I need it. I'm just saying that's interesting.
Okay. No, I'm gonna put it in here just in case if anybody in here need it.
Hey, if your Jimmy's broke, she give you what you need to fix it. Don't gloss over that. That'll shoot. There's a lot of people that need that help.
Yeah, so yeah, my point is that it's all kind of things that, you know, that have, I want to make sure I put it in the right. It's all kind of stereotypes. So I wouldn't say that's necessarily similar. So I think it is for some people. I think some people be lying when they say they can do something. I think a lot of times people be lying. I think some people can, and I think some people just be lying. I think some people can. You know what I mean? It's just like, can you shoot this basket? No. Can you possibly shoot this basket? Yeah, I can shoot the basket. So it's kind of like one of those situations. So I don't know. It's a lot of stupid stereotypes. Can I make? Did I make? Oh yeah. I got one. Did I make my husband fall in love with me? No, I was just myself.
Mm.
Well, okay.
Oh, they asked you. Did you do that to your husband? That's how you got.
My husband fell in.
That's hilarious.
No, but you know what though? I did not tell him I was intuitive for a long time. He didn't know when he first got with me. He didn't know I was intuitive. He didn't know I was intuitive until we moved in together.
What if he asked you? What if he asked you? Is that why I fell for you? Because you did some voodoo or something?
I'd be like, yes. I'd be like, boop, boop, boop. Yeah. I'd be like, boop, yeah, I did. Yeah.
Then he's like, thank you.
He told somebody that, he said, yeah, well, whatever she did to me, I like it.
That is funny. Oh my God. Now I know we didn't talk about this, Kaya, that I know yours is a lot about business. Do you talk to people? You deal with depression and stuff, right? And any relationship stuff too. Do you deal with that from an intuitive situation?
So when I first started helping people from the holistic health perspective, I was helping all kinds of different people. And eventually what I realized is there were people that I enjoyed working more with than others. So I originally thought, well, I'm going to keep my word to God by working with people who have cancer issues, right? Just because of that's how my reawakening occurred. And as I started to do that work, I realized I'm not cut out for this. Like, I don't like knowing that I have to help someone cross over. Like, that's just not my jam. And then I went to the place of, I think I want to work just with women. So it took a couple of years till I figured out for myself that who I loved working with in the holistic space were people that had injuries. So I've worked with professional jiu-jitsu fighters that have competed at the Olympic level, the Modesto Ballet. I treated a lot of their people in ballet, like they tear up their bodies. People don't realize, you know, it looks so graceful and so beautiful, but they tear up their bodies. I've treated people who competitively lift weights, right? So I boxers, jiu-jitsu, like I was saying, I realized I liked the athlete or the person that was active. And then there was another group of people that I didn't realize I was attracting, but they were the entrepreneur, the business owner that was so busy with the go, go, go that they would hurt themselves in the process because they didn't know how to slow down. And so my practice went from we help everyone eventually down to we specialize in alternative pain and stress management. And that's all we did for 4 years. And we ended up locally working with over 5,000 people that fit in that tiny little bucket. But let's talk about, like, from a business perspective, what it did was Now all of a sudden I didn't have to promote myself as a holistic health practitioner, massage therapist, someone who was a Reiki practitioner. I didn't have to like give people all these titles. I created my own world, my own title. And so I tell people in the entrepreneurial space, the quicker you can narrow down who you ideally like to work with, then from that place, you can create who you are, your persona, that title that you're going to own that nobody else has. And I took the same approach when I went online, and I basically realized, I'm going to be working with people. And I did the same thing. At first, I was like, do I want to deal with life issues? And we did. The first group I ever put together had over 200 people. And for 6 weeks, we worked together every day to deal with everything that had to do with the mind, body, spirit. It was and I call it a vomiting because it was exhausting for me, and it was exhausting for the people that worked on it. I felt like I vomited all my knowledge all at once because I was so eager to teach. What I ended up learning out of it was I have to break things down in phases for people, and not everybody can handle the level of intensity that I bring when we're clearing things out, because we weren't just physically clearing things, we were energetically, emotionally, spiritually. So all my talents came together at once. And then from there, I was like, you know what? If I'm going to continue to do this, I want to do it, but I want to do it with the entrepreneur. And then I even narrowed it down even more to where next year I'm going to be transitioning to only working with Latina women. And for me, it's just been a journey. It's been a conscious choice. And it's not because I'm trying to exclude people. I'm still going to work with other people. It's that the more you stay in your lane, the more you're able to be visible and have a bigger impact in the world, if that makes sense. So yes, I've helped people with, relationship issues. I can clearly remember my last client who was thinking, he goes, I think I want to get a divorce. And that was why he came to me. The pressure of him being a business owner and the house, and they were getting ready to buy another house, and they had a boat, and they had all these assets, and he's going, I think I want to get a divorce, and there's all these things in the way. I think you're the best person to help me. I was referred to you. What can we do? He had no idea that I was a life coach. He had no idea that I was intuitive. All he knew was, I'm dealing with a large amount of stress, and I heard you're really good at what you do. And then it was like, what exactly are we going to do? And I was like, this is the beauty of it, right? Because we ended up working together for 10 weeks. And at the end of 10 weeks, this man acknowledged that it wasn't that he wanted a divorce. It was that he was an alcoholic. And all the complaints his wife had up to this point were these recurring things that would happen when he would drink. And so at the end of 10 weeks, we went through this journey together, fixing things inside of his marriage, fixing things inside of his business. So I tell people, you get the best of both worlds. We get to work on your life, but we also work on your business, right? And at the end of it, I basically said, look, what action can you take next to deal with this issue? And on his own, he goes, I think I need to get help from an AA counselor, go to a 12-step program, go speak to someone who specializes in chemical dependency. And I was like, hell yes. Thank you for saying that. Because as a coach, you want to guide people to get there.
You're like,
you don't want to be
my
like,
life.
I'm about to tell you what you need to do to fix this. Even though you hear it, you feel it. Right. You want to empower people to see their blind spots, to start to narrow down and make their own conscious choices. Otherwise, that fix isn't a long-lasting fix. It's a Band-Aid. And I'm not in the business of putting Band-Aids on people. I want to pull the Band-Aid off and get to the root of your issue. So yes, I've dealt with life issues. At the end of the day, as a spiritual business mentor, you deal with both.
Perfect timing.
Right? You can't fix one if you're not going to fix the other.
I have to ask this question because I'm sure people are curious. You're still on mute. It should be like a little microphone next to
you gotta unmute yourself,
your name. There you go. Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay, so you guys are both very intelligent ladies and very attractive ladies. Now, Dr. Mary, you've been married for quite a while, but I know I can only imagine when you deal with people from such an emotional standpoint and they're bearing their souls to you, that sometimes there could be maybe some sort of misplaced romantic feelings, possibly from probably not even just guys, probably women too. And so I know that that's probably been the thing. So how do you deal with that? Because, like as men, we don't always open up emotionally with people. And then when you do that, you do feel like a connection. So maybe they may start taking that maybe the wrong way. So how do you deal with that? If that ever has happened, men or women, because you're dealing with people with such an emotion vulnerable state. And, how do you deal with it? So, and you're married too. So that's even if you're not married, it doesn't.
Well, it's an energy transference. So what I usually do, I haven't really had that to happen in quite some time, but I have had that. I just tell people, like, you don't like me for real. That's just an energy transference. If you don't sit your butt down, and I laugh at them because, I'm just going to laugh because it's not real. You know what I mean? You just going through a situation with a particular person that you with, and you just see me because I'm helping you. This ain't no Jada Pickett over here. We ain't doing no entanglement. We're not doing no entanglement over here. I'm not Jada. How about that? And I'm not here to help you. I don't need to feel whole. You know what I mean? I don't need to feel needed.
All right.
You know what I mean? Because either I'm going to be able to help you or I'm not. If I can't help you, then I'm sure, I can certainly find somebody that can help you. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a hater like that. So if I could deal with your energy, cool. If you could calm that down and we can work together, then I'll work with you. If you're going to keep on being obsessive and crazy, then I got to cut you loose. I mean, it's just straight like that. And I'm not going to tolerate that stuff. I got a husband. I really like my husband. I'm in love with him, but I actually like the little dude. Pretty cool. So why do I need to mess up my situation? Because you got some issues going on. And so it's things that you need to work within yourself. Now, either I'm going to be able to help you or I'm not going to be able to help you. So we have to, think about that. And that's kind of where I'm at. And I don't have time for that. And I'm going to let you know. I'm going to laugh at you if you doing too much. Now, it's not a thing of someone needing to be healing. Sometimes people legitimately got some issues.
Right.
Now, I'm talking about people that I have dealt with, and they need to be laughed at, because sometimes, when you're working with certain people, and certain times people will try you because they think that they could, get over on you because they think that you're this type of a healer. And I'm not your typical healer. I curse. Okay. I will let you know what it is. If you don't like what I have to say, that's on you. Then you can find you somebody else because I don't need your money like that. All money ain't good money. I'm going to get paid. Whether you leave or not, I'm going to get paid anyway. I'm going to get paid because somebody else going to come along that really need my help. And I'm not going to beg for help. I don't have to beg. My prices are already affordable. And, you can go to somebody else, and get whatever you need. But what I'm not going to do is you're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to disrespect my husband. And I'm damn. And if you in a relationship, you ain't going to disrespect your mate with me because I'm not with all that. You're not going to have your woman or whatever calling me talking about, she like you or he like you or whatever the case is. I'm going to be like, well, you need to get that worked out. I can sure help you guys to sever that tie. Because we're not going to have that because I'm messing up my situation for nobody. How about that?
She said, I'm in love with him, but I actually like him. Hilarious.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
That is funny. Oh, man. What about you, Kai?
It's definitely something that's occurred, it's not an everyday occurrence. It's not something that always happens, but there's always, there'll be that one person that misinterprets the work. And when I say the work, I mean, you connect with people when you're doing spiritual work, when you're coaching. when you're mentoring, whatever level you're at, if you're working one-on-one with someone, you connect with them at a whole different level. And sometimes they will take that to mean more than the setting, right? And I recently had this with one of my students, and I just had to say, look, I've already let you know that I'm not interested in having a relationship. I'm interested in somebody else. And if you can't find that boundary space to respect that boundary, like, I can't have you as a student. So let's see where this goes. Let's try this. You know, you've now let me know that you like me. You've now professed your feelings for me. Let's see where this goes. And then that person proceeded to then start sending me messages for several days, right? Like, granted, I was sick and they were concerned, but the messages went from being concerned to like borderline obsessive. And so I had to get in my own space energetically before I would even speak to him. And I basically had to draw that line. And I said, look, this will be the second time we have this conversation. You need to stop with the messages. And if you're going to be a student, show up to class. That's the only way I'm going to speak to you. We're done having a personal relationship. And we'll see what happens. But it's just basically like, you set these boundaries. You let people know where you're at. I love that Amira said, I'm not your typical, you know, healer or spiritual person. Because, yeah, I curse. And I even, when I go online and I'm about to do energy clearings or readings, I let people know. From the get-go, when I start my live stream, I said, I want to let you know a couple of ground rules. One, if you're going to be here, participate or go away. 2, be respectful to everybody in here, including me. 3, I have to let you know I curse. And I might be very direct, and you might not like what I have to say. Take it as this is what I'm hearing, because I will let you know through my language what I hear is. And that's not my opinion. That's what I'm hearing. You'll hear me say what I feel is. That's literally what I'm physically feeling in my body from you, right? And I let them know that. I said, I'm able to hear, feel, and see things. Those are my big 3 gifts. I use all 3 of them. Now I bring my coaching background into the space, because it just allows me to deal better with people when we're doing the work together. And when I say the work, whether it's an energy clearing or I'm, you know, using my pendulum or reading a card for them. So yeah, to me, it turns down to be clear with people, let them know where you're at, how you work. And if they cross those boundaries, then you just, you know, I don't laugh at them though, Amira. I do with my daughter. I do. Like, I will be like, can you believe this? And, you know, I'll play the message. She's going to be 20 next month, but she's my best friend. And this girl for years, when she was little, she'd be like, I just want you to be my friend. And I'd be like, no, I'm your mama, not your friend. Right. And it took years for me to get to a place where I realized this girl is hungry, not for me to show up as mom. She's hungry for me to show up as a friend, as a sister to her. And I took on energetically going, you know what? This is my sister. This is my friend. And it's funny because every time we take pictures or we go out in public, people will go, you look like your sister? Like, they'll ask if I'm her sister. And she'll be like, no, that's my mom. And there was a total cute side story. We had gone to Pyramid Lake 3 years ago. So we're talking about, I was 38. And we're walking down the lake, and there was a party going on. And it was a young people's party. So like people her age, right? And we're walking together, and this teenager goes, where are you strapping young ladies heading off to? She busts out laughing. So do I. I pull her closer to me, and I said, young man, And I kept walking. And she goes, Mom, why would you do that? Like, we could have gone to a party. I said, girl, I'm not here to party. We're here to spend together as family. And she goes, that kid thought you were a teenager, Mom. And I go, that's because I get younger
Benjamin
with
Button.
age. And it's just something I've declared. It's an energy that I brought in. And I really do. It's not shea butter, by the way. It's the energy. It's me literally saying when I'm showering, when I'm washing my face, when I'm talking to people. The minute they ask about my age, I literally declare it out. I go, I get younger with age.
I seen a live stream,
That's
and
it.
I think it was you and your daughter. And I thought before I knew it was your daughter, I thought it was like your sister. So yeah, I was like, wow, that's your daughter? Like, wow, y'all look virtually the same age almost. It's uncanny. It's crazy. Yeah. So, but you know what? You young. I think we're around the same age, so we're both young.
I'm 47. My daughter is 30.
Oh, okay. See, we're all around the same age. So yeah.
Yeah. I just turned 41 last week. How about you, Dr. Vibe?
I'm not
telling. How old are you, Dr. Vibe?
That's funny. No. No, I'm sorry. I've been hogging the conversation. I mean, I'm just so fascinated with all of this. I'll be honest with you. Before, we used to be all on a website, Kaya, and for some of those who don't know, called Blab, which was very similar to Get Vocal. That's how most of us met. And be honest, before Blab, the stuff that you guys are talking about, I was just like anybody else. I would roll my eyes, and I thought it was a bunch of hocus pocus bull. And it was really Dr. Amira. Like, because one thing with Dr. Amira was we're kind of similar in our worldview, like politically, and a lot. That's why I think it was like the first time I talked to Dr. Amira, it was like somebody I'd known for years. You know what I'm saying? We talk shit a lot, and I was like, oh, because in my mind, people who were in this space were not connected to like how I felt like I was the kind of person I am. So when I met like Dr. Mirror and she was like me, the kind of brother I am, you know what I'm saying? In sister form, I was like, oh man, she's like a real one. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know a lot. I mean, I knew dealing in the art world, like, because I'm from the art world, the Black art world, you have a lot of mystical Negroes, right? That you come across, right? And, a lot of them are jokers. They run and hustle, especially the guys. The guys be running the mystical Negro angle, the chicks, with the incense. They got incense you ain't never heard of. Like, what I mean? And all of that kind of stuff. And I used to always
hotel.
Right. And I knew a lot of those guys and I knew they were full of it, So I always kind of colored it with the same brush. And I got to meet a lot of cats through Blab and, who, like I said, Dr. Amira. And there are others as well where I started looking at it a lot different. Then we started doing things on our shows and stuff like that. So that's why it's like, I realize how fascinating this is. And so, like I said, it's been an education for myself as well. And I think we all have gifts to a certain degree. A lot of us have deja vu, a lot of us. I mean, I've had many situations where I felt like I've been here before, like this has happened before. And it's like scary, and then there's so much, like there's so many things where I think we all have touches with it, but we don't really know how to access it. And then people like yourselves are really in tune with your guys' gifts. And I think that's how special you guys are. So there's so much that, we can definitely talk about when it comes to these things. And I've been talking a lot. So Dr. Vibe, you have any thing? I'm so sorry.
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool. So and this is Dr. Vibe's, I think, fourth show today?
He's taking it in.
This is fourth show today. So Dr. Vibe, man, Dr. Vibe is a soldier, man, out there in these podcast streets. So So I can talk to you guys all night long, but I would.
Hey, you know what, Kinte, I can jump off you.
No.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
But I wanted to say this is I would like at some point though we definitely have to do this again, and there's so many more topics that I want to get to, but I think I want to start off. We'll start off with you, Kaya. How can people get you in social media? You have a new podcast is about to start. Tell us about that and how we can if they in the website.
Right. So August 31st is the podcast launch dates. I'm doing my darnest to do it by the 31st. We'll see. Hopefully we don't postpone it. But it's called Spiritual and Unstoppable. And it'll launch first in iTunes. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I got to grab one of the cats because they're trying to get to the camera. Say hi, babies.
Mm.
And this is Happy.
Now you're a Bond villain.
She's a rescue. She found us. So yeah, you can definitely find me on all social media outlets by going to Kaya Lopez Live. It's I don't know.
Yeah, no, it shows
the show.
We see
our titles don't show.
And I'll put it in the show notes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Kaya Lopez Live, and if people want to get on a free phone call with me, I do, when I come on podcasts, have interviews, I open up slots for guests to just ask questions. I don't charge them. It's just my way of giving back to our community. So you just go to kaya.live, CHAYA.LIVE. And sometimes people are like, wait, what? Yeah, that's all you type in your URL. Kaya.
You don't have your book is not out yet, right?
LIVE. No, the book is not out yet. That's what I was asking Amira if she wants to. I want it to be a series of stories. I don't want it just to be me. Part of this is to empower and uplift other people in the process. Being a published author is one of the things that helped me tremendously get speaking gigs and also build credibility in what I'm doing. And this will be the first spiritual book that I put out there. And I didn't want to do it by myself. I wanted to have co-collaborators. And this will be a printed situation. So if people want to collaborate in the book, right? If they are spiritual entrepreneurs and they're interested in participating in this, I'm not charging. It literally is. If you're a fit for the book, I will put you in the book. If you want to order copies,
sounds wonderful.
You pay for your copies.
All right, Dr. Amira, how can we get you in social media and all that good stuff?
Okay, so I put my website in, but I'm gonna say it again. It's www.ask, like Amira Sankofa Kwali, 314 life, like give me a life.com. My email address is ask314 life@gmail.com. That's one of my professional emails. Let's see, my telephone number to reach me at is 502-208-9142. And I think let me look, I had to get my little phone, my handy dandy phone. Remember the little commercial? Remember handy dandy notebook? Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
What was that? Blue's Clues. He's like, my handy dandy notebook, but in my phone. So I gotta look at it. Okay, so it's why don't I know my what you call it by heart? But anyway, it's Dr. Ask Coach on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, Dr. Amira Sankofa Kwali on Facebook, and let's see, I think that's it. Yeah, that's all. And yeah, I do laugh at people when they do dumb stuff, sister. I do totally. I'm going to laugh because you know what? You should not be. Why would you? Because a lot of times I've had clients that were set up. I gotta finish this because I didn't get a chance to, and then we can end. But I would have clients purposely that would try to schedule an appointment with me, knowing that they like me, and I know I'm gonna laugh at you because you really don't want this healing for real. You just want to come on here and look at my little cute face. Now you know you're wrong for that. I'm gonna laugh in your face because you ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm gonna whoop your tail, not no good way. But
they want
yeah,
another kind of healing.
right. It's this kind of healing. You're gonna get beat mentally. Anyway, but no, you don't have time to be trying to like on me. Because I've experienced more of that than someone just having the energy transference. You know, I've had to purposely trying to schedule that appointment with me. I'm like, no, sir. But anyway, so yeah, that's how to reach me. Okay, I'm done.
All right, and you can get me at Kinte F, on
Awesome.
Twitter at Kinte Fergerson, on Instagram, and of course the website is indyradio.org. That's indyradio.org. Dr. Vibe.
You can reach me at my website, thedrvibeshow.com. All my contact information there, replays of my 2000 Epic Conversations. And if you want to come on the Dr. Vibe show, there's a contact form there also. Yeah.
Did you just say 2,000 conversations?
Dr. Vibe is the mentor.
Wow. I'm awesome. I'm blown away.
It's not a race.
I got some numbers to catch up with.
Just do you.
Well, no. It's just no. I went live pretty much every day. Starting 2 years. I started 2 years ago, and my goal was to go and start podcasting every day. And everybody was like, "That's a big undertaking."
Yeah.
I said, "All right, I'll do one podcast a week." And so right now that I'm hearing you, I'm going, my spirit wants me to do more. And it's not about a race, right? But there's what the expert coaches were like, no, you do one episode a week. And then there's what my spirit is going, no, I want to eat up the world.
This month when it finishes, I've done 25.
Wow.
All right.
Hey. Wow.
Go team, go.
Well, this is the time to do it because even most people are transitioning back out, but there's still a lot of people at home. And the last 6 months has been the best time to do conversations because no one was going anywhere.
You're correct. I agree with you there, doctor.
Yep.
Thank you, doctor.
I'm gonna have to start using my doctor title.
Why did I know this is gonna start something?
I tell you, when I first got it, I was like, doctor. And I started making my husband call me that. He was like, girl, you crazy? You my wife. Dr. Wife.
Oh my.
You know, I was like, because I was so proud of myself. And I was like, yes, I'm walking around. I had my grandchildren calling me Dr. Granny. I was like, call.
Oh, wow.
So I have my doctorate in divinity, and I'm working on my second doctorate in naturopathic psychology. And I have my holistic health practitioner career, right? Like that took 4 years to get done. And I spent 8 years studying Chinese medicine. So, but me, I'm still going.
You gotta call yourself Dr. Shu. Let me tell you something. I just tell people what it is. I'm a metaphysician. I'm not getting ready to try to be something I'm not. I just tell people that. I let people know all those certifications that I have. I really should, and I'm also becoming an energy healer doctor. You know, as well. And that's what I'm working on right now. But I got like 20 more classes to do. Really, well, I gotta get certificate.
If Dr. Dre can call himself doctor,
I will leave you with this: credibility leads to profitability.
Yeah. All right, I'll work on that. That'll be my next coming out.
All right.
The next evolution of Kyle Lopez. Thank you so much. I had a blast. Thank you, Dr. Vibe, for having me on. Thanks, Kinte, for inviting me.
It was too. I had a great time, y'all. I'm telling you. Made me laugh. I had to, just to share this with y'all, I had Kinte told me, I was like, shoot, Kinte, I'm not getting on no camera. And then he was like, you gotta cover it up with tape. I'm like, no, I'm getting ready to do that because I don't my PJs. So that's what took me a little minute because I had to go take me a shower and get on here and get cute for y'all. We'll try to get a little cute for y'all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So thank you.
All right, everyone. God bless, peace be well, and keep the faith. Walk
Thank
good,
you.
everybody, and stay safe.
Thank you.